Hi there everybody, welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to talk about tapped arpeggios. So I'm going to demonstrate obviously the mechanics of the technique and how you can kind of like implement it in your own playing. There's going to be a couple of examples that hopefully you can work with and you can kind of, you can practice. And, it's just going to kind of show you a different way of playing arpeggios, perhaps a smoother way of playing arpeggios as well. So we'll just crack on with the lesson. Here they are. So for this example, I'm just going to use my basic major arpeggio shape and we'll just go from there. So this is very similar to the example from earlier. So, we're starting here on the dominant seventh, so essentially a C7 arpeggio. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sort of tapping, pulling off, and then we're just going to be doing, a lot of this is going to be revolve around like hammer-ons with the left hand. And in terms of like the intervallic sequence, it's going down in inversion. So it's essentially going down in this fashion. It's where that sound comes from. So that's kind of what we're working with. So I'll explain the challenges. I'll show a portion of the arpeggio pretty quickly, and then we'll just go into kind of the mechanics and the various challenges that are therein. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be tapping 18, pulling off to 15, like that, and then 15 to 12, like that. So nothing too complicated so far. And then we're going to be tapping 15, pulling off to 12, and then hammering on from nowhere on the 13th fret of the B string. So that's going to be our middle finger. Like that. So hopefully that makes sense. And then what we've got, after we finish there, we're going to tap 17 of the B string, pull off to 13, and then we're going to do that hammer on from nowhere with our first finger, 12th fret of the third string. So all in all, like that. So before I continue, I'm going to explain kind of the mechanics of the left hand with this and how you can kind of get this clean and how you can avoid kind of making it messy. So what you don't want with this is when you're particularly when the left hand starts doing all of its hammer-ons, you don't want this like that. You don't want the notes functioning as a chord, or rather you don't want them bleeding together, because that's just going to ruin the whole thing. What we do want is just a separation between all the notes and hopefully, a very clean distinction between them. And the way we achieve this is what we're going to do. So when we get into the hammer-ons, like that, and we're about to move to the next string, we then have to like place it we have to kind of lift that finger up. The finger that's already down on the fretboard, we have to lift that up as quickly as that one is coming down. So there has to be kind of a good sense of timing between the fingers, and they have to be coming up and down exactly the same time as each other. And that's how we get that separation between them. So I'll show a little closer. See what I mean? It's just kind of like there's a definite synchronization between them. See what I mean? But there's not this. Like that, it's just every note of the arpeggio is distinct and audible. See what I mean? So it's kind of like, and the thing is as well, once you start getting in sort of the low registers, and if you start making all this stuff kind of bleed together, it's not going to sound nice. So, that's an important thing. That's kind of going to be the driving force behind this lick, really. Yeah, the right hand is kind of starting it, but really it's the left hand that's gonna propel it forward. So with that in mind, we're gonna continue with the rest of the arpeggio. So because we're kind of nearly finished, so it's gonna be 17 here. So obviously this is the last note we landed on. So it's gonna be 17. There on the third string, and then pulling off to 12 like that, and then just that hammer on like that on the 14th fret of the fourth string, and then 17, 14, and that little finger is going to be doing 15 of the A string. So the whole arpeggio very slowly. Like that. So if that makes sense, and that's kind of like, that's, you can make, you can make a lot of arpeggio runs that way, and it just sounds really cool, Kind of swap a few of the notes around. You can kind of alternate between different inversions and stuff, and it's kind of, you can gives it kind of breathes a bit of a new life in your arpeggio playing. So, and it's basically all the in terms of the mechanics, it's the concept is very similar, ascending as well. So, we're going to tap 19 here, then we're going to obviously that's going to be pulling off to 15, ring finger like that on the 14th fret, and we're just going back up the way we came. So, like that, so that's basically it, and we can just play about with that, sometimes we don't even have to do the whole arpeggio either, we can kind of, do, or we can kind of add different extensions to it, so rather than just, we can go like that, like that. So there's a lot we can kind of do, and it's just really cool to play your arpeggios that way. It's a very smooth way, and you can make lots of sequences out of this. So yeah, that's one example. This example is working within the context of A Lydian, and it's a bit of a smaller arpeggio, but has a lot of room for repeatability. It has a lot of repeat value. So we're just going to be, so here we're just going to be starting on the 17th fret here, like that, and then we're going to be pulling off to 11. Like that, and then 11 to 9. So we just, again, got that kind of simple pull-off so far. Nothing too complicated. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to tap on 12, pull off to 9, and then hammer on with our middle finger on 10 on the B string like that. So we'll just have this. Like that. Hopefully that makes sense. And then we're going to do 14 on the B string, and then pull off to 10. And then we're going to hammer on with our first finger on 9 on the third string, and that's basically the whole arpeggio. That's the whole shape, So the thing is with this arpeggio, it's very, very small, but it's obviously you can kind of repeat certain notes, and you can kind of like make a little bit of a sequence out of it, which is really cool. So for example, like I demonstrated earlier, you can go. You can do things like that, so there's a lot of a lot of room for sequencing and stuff like that. And you can kind of, it's a good way to practice the left hand coordination as well, especially when we're on this bit here. So once we can go like this. Now that's a really good thing to practice, as dry and mundane as that might be, because basically you get to hear what the separation between the notes sounds like. Or you get to practice it, rather. You can practice it in a bit of a loop, so you can, maybe practice it like this. And so on, so you can kind of, you can even make it more advanced with the right hand as well, so you can go like that. You can, you can do all kinds of things with it, so you can probably stray away from the triplet a little bit more, you can be a bit more adventurous with the left hand, like that. So it's, there's lots of possibilities, lots of intervallic possibilities. But one of the main takeaways from this is that you can practice that left hand synchronization a fair bit, so as you can hear there, you can definitely see the separation between those two fingers and the separation between the notes as well. So you're not hearing this. You're hearing this. Which is what we want. We want a nice clean arpeggio. We want every note to have definition. So, I'll just do that a couple of times, and then we'll just go from there. like that. So, you know, again, it's just like again, like I said before, that's a nice small one, but it's something you can kind of repeat. You can repeat different intervals, you know, and different sort of melodic ideas with it. So, you know, that's a good one to practice as well. Try it. I hope you found that lesson useful and informative. Hopefully you've taken away something from it, and it's you know, it's something to practice and eventually put in your own playing. If you liked the video, do give it a thumbs up, and of course do subscribe to the channel. See you very soon.